Hi everyone, I have a slightly different plan with me this week. It is a May monthly highlights with this kit from NikkiPlusThree. I love the sidebar. This kit is obviously a spring theme, but it's got blues, greens, it's in gold foil. This is the sheet with all the scripts on it. And these are the date numbers, some deco, some sidebar layering pieces, boxes, icon. I think there's some thin washi strips on the bottom there. And yep, I'm excited to get into it. So this is my first kind of monthly highlights plan with me, and I actually didn't really know how to prep. So I've tried this a few times before, and the trouble is that I find that I have difficulty figuring out how to plan in terms of how to lay it out. It's a lot different than like a normal spread where you kind of have columns and you're going from right to left. Like with monthly spreads, I'm like, should I just go all the way across and then come back, kind of like a typewriter? But I didn't really know what to do, so I had started and stopped on a couple of these a couple of times, and finally just was like, get your head in the game, get a game plan for this. So once I figured out that I wanted to do kind of like one page and then flip it over and do the other side, the next thing I had to figure out is, how do you remember what all you did in the month? So in terms of prep work, what I did was I went back through my calendar, back through my texts, and wrote down everything, an email, and wrote down everything that like happened in May according to the date. So I just wrote May 1st, May 2nd, May blah, 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 blah. And that really helped me be like, okay, so when I actually sit down to plan, I can remember what I did in each day. And so I had the sheet like off camera, obviously, but just looking at it to be like, okay, we need to put this and that. The third thing that kind of like had me a little bit tied up was, how decorative should each of these boxes be? So I've watched a few monthly highlight spreads, and it seems like people really go all out in the deco. But it's like, I have the monthly kit. I don't have a ton of deco that like matches necessarily the monthly kit. And so how like decorative should I get, either with floral decos or with icons or that kind of stuff? So I kind of had to figure that out. But this is my first crack. I think it went okay. There's definitely some things that I would do maybe a little bit differently next time. But I would love your thoughts on how this went. In terms of May as a month, it was a really kind of interesting month in that I traveled, had some time off work. It was my sister's birthday. It was Mother's Day. So there was a lot going on. I also, I had a work happy hour with my old coworkers from a couple jobs ago. We still keep in touch. We still hang out. I'm still close friends with a lot of people that I worked with there. And it was really fun. I mean, it was like kind of my first, I think, proper like party, I would say, since like pandemic. It was outdoors, but it was at my like old workplace, and it was just so nice to be there, to see everyone. I feel like you work in a place and you get to know people, and if you end up liking your coworkers or forming friendships with them, like that's gold. That's like completely, I think, irreplaceable. There's nothing like it. So it was so exciting to see them again. And I mean, I would say also don't take that for granted. There's lots of places that you work and you're like, I would never hang out with these people, or I don't want to be their friend after I'm done working here or even while I'm working here. So yeah, if you're lucky to make some work friends, hold them close, keep them near. They're great. This month, in addition to that work happy hour, I was doing my like normal, going to the gym, working out, doing some sticker organizing, getting a ton of Happy Mail, going on ice cream dates. And this, I think it was like the second to last week of the month, I traveled to New York. I surprised my mom with just like a surprise visit. So I had a work thing in New York, and it was so the work thing was actually a week-long thing, but I decided not to go to the entire thing because some of it was indoors. There's a ton of people, and I was like, I don't feel great about this. So I went to some of the outdoor events, but I didn't tell my mom that I was coming, and I showed up with my sister, who had picked me up from the airport. And the funny thing is, like, I think I might have talked about this in the week that this happened, but we ring the doorbell, and we see her kind of poke, like we see the little curtain on the door kind of like open up a little bit, and then nothing. And I was like, is she not going to open the door? And I said to my sister, like, what if she doesn't come to the door? So we ring the doorbell again, and I can hear her voice like she's on the phone. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's on the phone. She's like, hang on, Pauline. And she opens up the door, and I think she's like a little bit confused at first, and then she sees me, and she's like, oh my gosh, you know, and it was such a nice moment. I wish we had filmed it. I didn't think to like tape it or anything, but when she peeked out, she said later that she thought she saw two people on the doorstep, and I had my suitcase with me, and she was like, she thought it was like two people selling something, so she just went away from the door and didn't bother to answer it. But then when we rang again, she was like, okay, I have to like see what's up because they're ringing twice. But she was super excited and happy to see me, and it was great to surprise her. While I was in New York, you know, it's always good to be home. I'm from New York, and even though my mom lives in Long Island and originally I'm from Brooklyn, it's still nice to be like in the New York vibe, you know, riding the subway and all of that. I feel like I was back home. I did get a little bit turned around trying to get back on the LIRR. Like I said, my mom is in Long Island, so I had to call my sister, and we did this like Matrix style, like her trying to help me find the closest LIRR entrance and which track to go to and all of this. So when I say Matrix style, it's like, you know, in the first Matrix, they're on the phone. They're like, go to this phone, and like you got this, you know, in 30 feet, and like downloading karate moves or whatever. It was a lot like that. She was like, you got to try the door. It's in between this, you know, like it was nuts. I was downtown, in like Soho, which is not my like normal stomping grounds. When I lived in New York, it was all Upper East Side, Upper West Side. You know, yeah, maybe like not NoHo, but like, I don't know. You know, like that was not really my neighborhood. I worked in Soho briefly one summer for a startup, but like that's just not the places that I know like the back of my hand. Midtown even, I would say I know better, you know. But so I was like, help me, I don't know where I'm going. Like this was such a good time. Yeah, it was my sister's birthday on the 5th of the month. And it was really funny because my other sister tried to get a video of my niece like dancing to Happy Birthday thing. And instead of her dancing, she just stares at my sister like, you gotta be kidding me. She's a little over, I think she's 15 months? Yeah. Well, she was at the time. She was a little over a year. And she's like, hey, do you want to dance for Auntie? And my niece just like dead stares at her in the face and just says like nothing and doesn't dance. Just, it was so funny. She was like, are you kidding me with this? I'm not participating in this. So that was fun. Yeah, so I was in New York for a few days, and then I came back home, and it was actually like a kind of relaxing and productive week because, like I said, everyone was still out in New York doing the work thing, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to the outdoor parts and come back home. So it was good times. And you know, it wasn't quite hot yet. It's like pre-summer, so it was just, yeah, very, very chill and fun. I feel like I am way more productive when I don't have meetings, when there's not a ton of people, you know, to check in with. So I also think that this month I got super into Peloton. Restarted. So I have a Peloton, and it's been on and off, like I'm doing it, I'm not. So it's like either I'm doing it, I'm riding 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm like very consistent, or I'm doing nothing. So this month I had gotten back into riding 2 times a week, and it was really great. I don't do, I know a lot of people like take the classes and stuff, and I don't mind that, but I sometimes just like to get on the bike and do my own workout. I can listen to a podcast, I can listen to music, and I just like set my own pace. I don't have to worry about what the instructor's saying. I don't have to worry if I don't like their music, which I can be pretty picky. So, yeah, it's just fun for me to kind of do my own rides. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm just noticing this, that before I went to New York, I was in Chicago to see my sister and my niece, and we had such a good time. It was really fun. I love her. And you guys probably are going to get sick of me talking about her, but she is the best. And such a fun and cute little kid, and just very, like, sassy. She already has such a personality. I love it. But yeah, so that was part of the surprise with my mom, actually, is that we were like, oh, I'm in Chicago, and then we just like kind of acted like I went back home and that I didn't continue on to New York. So yeah, actually, while I was in Chicago, I went out with my sister and her friends to this place called Sunwa. I think it's in Evanston. Yeah, and it is a duck place. It's like that's their specialty, is that they do like Peking duck, and you pre-order the duck, I think, ahead of time, or pre-order however many ducks you need. And I swear they had the best duck I think I've ever had in my life, and the buns were so soft, and it was a really, really delicious meal. I was stuffed by the end. I think there were like 8 or 9 of us, and we ordered 2 whole ducks, and there was still food left over. I mean, we also had rice and all of that, so I think people were just eating a bunch of different things, like we had vegetables and all of that, but it was so good. It was so good. I felt so full afterwards. It was yeah, it was a situation. But yeah, so that is some monthly highlights of things that happened in May, which again was a pretty cool month. Got to travel a little bit, got to see family, some friends, which was really fun. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!